The Yankees made multiple trades, then released this guy. Twins traded away everyone.
The trade deadline is just a couple of days away, and man, the news is pouring out. It's pouring out. As we know, the Yankees need a lot, and I feel like every 5 minutes, I'm just refreshing my feed and I'm just seeing new stuff pop up, but just brand new stuff. So do me a favor before we get into that, if you love the Yankees and...
The latest stretch of deal-making across Major League Baseball unfolded in dramatic fashion, with two franchises heading in opposite directions. In New York, the Yankees went all in, aggressively overhauling their roster in pursuit of postseason glory. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Twins dismantled theirs, sending nearly every recognizable name packing in what looked more like a wholesale fire sale than a strategic rebuild. The contrast between the Bronx and Minneapolis made for one of the most compelling trade deadlines in recent memory.
Let's read what Joel Sherman had to say on MLB Network on what the Yankees could potentially add, and it's a lot. Joel Sherman said this: they'd love to get at least one starting pitcher, they'd love to get two relievers, they would love to add another right-handed bat who plays either third or left, maybe a little shortstop. Sherman also went on to say, it's not in the quote, but he also went on to say that the Yankees would love to add one, but even maybe two starting pitchers, and they would love to add two relievers, but maybe even three. Now, that's 5 pitchers. Do I think they're going to add that many? No. There's going to be way too much competition on the trade market that they would be lucky if they added 2 quality arms, in my opinion. But before we get further into this...
When the trade window first opened, many expected the Yankees to stand pat, trusting their established core to carry them through the stretch run. That plan evaporated quickly. First, General Manager Brian Cashman pulled off a coup by acquiring David Bednar from Pittsburgh. Bednar arrived under team control for 2 more seasons and boasted a sparkling 1.70 ERA over his last 37 innings, during which he struck out 50 batters. His presence immediately strengthened New York's shaky late-inning relief corps, providing a reliable bridge to the closer's role for what could be a grueling October push.
What's up, it's Tom, and Twin Case, you missed it. Everybody got traded today. Everybody got traded. Man, that was rough. There's not a good way to do this. There's just so much that went down. I'm going to do my best. If I miss anything, please, people in the comments, help me out here. There's just so much to go through. But this is the list of the guys who are out, the guys that the Twins traded. Chris Paddock, Randy Dobnak, Joan Duran, Harrison Bader, Brock Stewart, Danny Coulomb, Carlos Correa, Louis Varland, Ty France, Griffin Jackson, Willie Castro. Holy smokes, is that a lot of players. Much like we did for Duran, raising a toast to all of these guys, especially any of them who were involved on the 2023 Twins in particular, who broke the playoff losing streak. A toast to you all. Best of luck in your future endeavors. Hopefully you're going to greener pastures, playing for better ball clubs, and you have wonderful Octobers in your new homes.
Not content to stop there, Cashman turned his attention to the free-swinging Jake Bird of San Francisco. Bird had whiffed 50 hitters in his first 38 innings this season, yet struggled in July with a jaw-dropping 13.4 ERA.
Tap foul.
Banking on pitching coach Matt Blake's ability to refine Bird's command, New York brought in the side-arming flamethrower, hoping the change of scenery and coaching could coax Bird back to his early season form. The Yankees' master plan became clearer when they flipped a prospect package to the Giants for Camilo Doval.
Forever.
Doval's electric triple-digit cutter and wipeout slider had produced more than a strikeout per inning, and his contract extends through 2028. Despite occasional control issues, Doval's upside as a dominant late-inning arm made him too tantalizing to pass up.
So again, not going to really get too deep into detail on all of those. There's just so much to go through and go over right now. I couldn't possibly do that well at the moment, to be completely honest. So instead, let's talk about trade tiers. Tier as in crying and tiers as in categories. For me at least, shedding a tier. We're going to shed a tier for these guys, mostly in part because they didn't have really a future with the Minnesota Twins. All of these guys, save for, I think, Dobnak, is his contract expiring? Either way, he was a throw-in basically money-wise. All the rest of these guys were on expiring contracts. Chris Paddock, Randy Dobnak, Harrison Bader, Danny Coulomb, Ty France, and Willie Castro. you're only going to have these guys around for 2 more months anyway, so it's not that big of a blow. I put an asterisk next to Willie Castro because for me personally, I did get emotional when about a week ago I had to sort of really come to terms with the fact.
With their bullpen fortified, the Yankees turned to the infield, stealing Jose Caballero from San Francisco in a swap that brought a switch-hitting spark plug to the Bronx.
One up the right side. That's a fair ball.
Caballero had swiped 40 bases in each of the last 2 seasons and walked at a 12% clip this year.
Up into the plate. It's a base.
His elite defense up the middle promised to push young shortstop Anthony Volpe, injecting competition and urgency into a position that had been a weak link for much of the campaign. New York wasn't done bolstering its offense either. They traded for veteran first baseman designated hitter Ryan McMahon from Colorado, adding a right-handed power bat capable of patrolling both corners of the lineup. McMahon's track record of 20-plus homers in 3 consecutive seasons promised immediate impact.
This ball pulled through the right side, a base hit. Tovar coming home.
To further shore up outfield depth, the Yankees acquired Austin Slater from San Francisco. Slater's ability to produce in a platoon role and spell injured stars like Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton gave the lineup more flexibility. He had shown flashes of brilliance against left-handed pitching, and in a tight playoff race, every bench bat matters.
Left field, it is
Slater. We have MLB breaking news out of the Toronto Blue Jays. Trevor Richards has been traded to the Minnesota Twins per Colby Sports. Also, this was coming from Ken Rosenthal. Good luck to the Minnesota Twins and the Toronto Blue Jays. Woohoo!
After that whirlwind of moves, Cashman delivered the coup de grace. New York released Marcus Stroman. Signed before the 2022 season to a 4-year, $71 million deal. Stroman never justified his contract in pinstripes. His home ERA sat north of 7 all season. And while he produced sporadic success on the road, his inconsistency rendered him more of a liability than an asset. The Yankees chose to eat the remaining $37 million, preferring to open a roster spot rather than hold on to hope for a late-season turnaround. At the same time, the Twins script was being rewritten in real time, and not in a way that inspired optimism. What began as whispers of a possible playoff push devolved into a clear signal that Minnesota was planning for the long haul. First came the shocking departure of Carlos Correa, a franchise icon who signed a massive extension just 2 years ago. Correa's leadership and bat had been cornerstones of the club's success, and trading him marked a turning point that fans felt deep in their bones. Shortly thereafter, revelations about the Twins' future plans emerged in rapid succession. Harrison Bader, acquired last season to bolster the outfield and lineup, was shipped to St. Louis for a prospect haul emphasizing pitching potential. Fans who had marveled at Bader's Gold Glove defense and timely hitting now wondered who would come to fill the void.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Yankees and Twins facing off in Minnesota, the first of a 3-game series. Welcome back to MLB Now. Both clubs are division leaders. Yankees have won 6 in a row. They're 39-15. Twins, though, have bounced back nicely. They were a team that was, on a forward trajectory year after year. Last year, they just lost it. Bottom fell out. So they've got their division lead in pretty good shape. Let's revisit the trade, though. This is a pretty big trade. It was a team-changing trade. We've talked a lot about from the Yankees' point of view because Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa are often in the news. We put IKF in the news no matter
He's
what.
Your favorite.
He is our favorite. And also Ben Rortvedt was also put. He's injured catcher right now. But it's Gio Urshela, Gary Sanchez. How have they performed? The weighted runs created plus, all fairly similar for the players except for Kiner-Falefa, who's a good fielding shortstop. He's +3 now in defensive runs saved, even though he hasn't been at his very best. He was +10 last year. See, I always make excuses for IKF. I always throw that in there. So the WAR, what you can judge right now, Donaldson's at 1.4. Sanchez and Urshela, though, are kind of right there.
Next to go was infielder Ty France.
Coming over here, being traded last year is definitely a whirlwind of emotions, but career-wise, I mean, it's definitely for the best. It's helped me take off a little bit, and I think it just come down to everyday reps.
Sent to Toronto in exchange for 2 bullpen arms. While France offered solid on-base skills and average defense, his impending free agency made him a movable piece. The return on France, a flame-throwing reliever under team control, reflected Minnesota's commitment to stockpiling young arms. Players once considered untouchable kept finding themselves on the move. James Outman, a former Dodgers prospect who had dazzled defensively but struggled at the plate, was packed off to Los Angeles. In return, the Twins received Tay Bradley, a high-ceilings right-hander who had been a top prospect in Tampa Bay's farm system. The hope was that a new coaching staff could unlock Bradley's mid-90s fastball and wipe out slider. Detroit pounced on another Minnesota deal by taking on Chris Paddock's salary and handing over 2 younger prospects. The Tigers absorbed nearly $33 million of Eduardo Escobar's contract, betting that the veteran would provide veteran stability and pop in the lineup down the stretch. It was another clear sign that the Twins were intent on shedding payroll and reloading for the future. By mid-afternoon, virtually every recognizable Twin had been moved. Willie Castro, a multi-position utility man with a knack for getting on base, landed in Chicago. The Cubs, in turn, flipped for a lefty specialist reliever who could eat innings in middle relief. Griffin Jax, another fan favorite, was sent to Toronto, much to the surprise of a Minneapolis crowd that had cheered his hustle and occasional dominant outings.
How did you assess the trade?
You know how they say the grass ain't so greener on the other side? Well, I think for both of these guys, it was. And when I look at Sanchez, look, his OPS plus right now, his slugging, it's as good as it's been since he's been an all-star in 2019 and 2017. So for Urshela, it was just a situation where he got caught in that trade. But for me, Karnak Falefa has been the key to this whole trade. And the reasons for that is when I look at a good team, when I look at a dominant team, I always look up the middle. And right now, up the middle, they've been great. And the one guy that has really embraced this whole trade wasn't even on this trade, in Gleyber Torres. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was a very bad defender at shortstop to all of a sudden now be a +3, +6 defensive run saves at second base. Now that puts a really good team up the middle with good pitching, a really good catcher that can call a game. Obviously, we understand what Judge is doing in center field. For me, Gleyber Torres in this whole trade situation has been the winner out of this whole thing.
He loves IKF, so he's coming back on this show. This is his first show, but he'll be back at this point.
Everybody loves IKF. Another winner is Carlos Correa.
The seemingly endless march of departures culminated in a package of 4 players sent to Kansas City. Bailey Falter, a ground ball-inducing lefty with team control through 2029. Ryan Burgett, a rookie who flashed a mid-90s heater but needed refinement on his secondary offerings. Mike Yuremski, a southpaw relying on deception to generate swings and misses. And Steven Kiddick, whose side-to-side movement made him a tantalizing sleeper. In return, Minnesota accepted more arms, sure to swell their minor league rosters, but offering little immediate help. By the time the dust settled, the Twins had offloaded Harrison Bader, Carlos Correa, Ty France, James Outman, Eduardo Escobar, Willie Castro, Griffin Jax, Chris Paddock, and a host of younger players. Fan reaction was a mixture of anger, disbelief, and resignation. Social media timelines eclipsed by cries of "Who's left?" and "When is the rebuild over?" underscored the depth of frustration. Comparing the two stories crystallized the divergent paths. In New York, optimism climbed with each announcement. Fans dared to believe a long-awaited return to October glory was within reach. In Minneapolis, that faith was extinguished, replaced by the uneasy acceptance that the next few seasons might be defined by prospect development rather than playoff runs. Yet within both narratives lay threads of hope. The Yankees' aggressive approach ensured they would enter September with one of the most intimidating bullpens in baseball history. A combination of proven veterans, Bednar, Bird, Doval, and high-upside arms meant opposing hitters would face a gauntlet late in games. Add to that a reinvigorated lineup fortified by McMahon, Slater, and Caballero.
One up the right side.
And New York's blueprint read like a championship playbook. On the flip side, the Twins' treasure trove of pitching prospects promised future payoffs. Players like Tay Bradley and the arms acquired from Kansas City would headline the next wave of Minnesota talent. While the immediate picture looked bleak, the front office had unquestionably pivoted toward building a sustainable contender for the latter half of the decade.
Maybe we're provincial, but of course they are 39-15. So obviously whatever the Yankees did worked this winter. They did a great job, but I like this from the Twins' perspective. Urshela is a terrific defender. Sanchez feels more comfortable, I think, in Minnesota, and getting Correa, saving that money on Donaldson and then being able to get Correa, I think that's
John, what they're doing with him too, and Gary Sanchez, is understanding his value, right? He's only caught 23 games out of 56.
As the calendar turned to September, the spotlight shifted back to the field. Every Mariano Rivera cutter, every Carl Pavano curveball has its season. Now the focus would be on how these new pieces fit together. In pinstripes, would the revamped Yankees recapture the swagger of old? In Minnesota, could the young arms and fresh prospects deliver a turnaround sooner than expected? For now, all that remains is to watch and wait. The All-Star break feels like a distant memory, replaced by pennant chases and playoff races. In every dugout, players adjust to new uniforms, learn new signals, and forge new relationships. Fans, accustomed to the ebb and flow of baseball's long season, hold their breath for what's next. Against that backdrop, the tale of two teams stands as a testament to the sport's ever-shifting landscape. The Yankees, unafraid to spend and reshape their identity in search of October. The Twins, willing to sacrifice present glory for future promise. Both gambles carry risk, reward, and a reminder that in baseball, no fate is final. Every swing, every pitch, every transaction can change the story in an instant.